What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, the Clippers head coach, Tyronn Lue, finally speaks on his team. He finally speaks on the Clippers as a whole, finally speaks on Kawhi Leonard, just the team in general, and it's just good to hear from Ty Lue based upon, everything that's going on right now. The season is en route, I should say. And, he was just saying on clutchsports.com, you can actually read it there where, he took a trip, and he was hanging out there with Nicholas Batum. And, worked out Nicholas Batum a little bit, took a little vacation somewhat. And Ty Lue also spoke on, just the team overall. He said that, Reggie Jackson, and John Wall will be competing for the first unit point guard spot, which that'll be a good competition, I think. Either way, I think that would be good for both players, to actually go out there and compete and play at a high level and respect each other more and understand each other's role and everything. I think that's great. He also spoke on Kawhi Leonard, of course, and saying he also said he had a plan in place for Kawhi Leonard, but not only him, Paul George, Nicholas Batum, John Wall, and other players. And, of course, Ty Lue has to be, non-committal, I would say, in regards to the big question that's always asked, or that's been asked of him the last, couple months was when is, Kawhi coming back specifically? Is he going to be there at the start of the season? And Ty Lue just, chuckled and basically said he didn't know, leaving it up in the air. I just feel like, Ty Lue says the right things, and I feel like he doesn't never say too much, which is a good thing because you don't want to give away too much and say, oh, he'll be there at the start of the season, and Kawhi Leonard doesn't come back until game number 10 or 12 of the season. You see what I'm saying? Or something like that, So it's always good to, kind of leave that up in the air, sort of say. I think he's doing the right thing with that. I think also, I feel like Ty Lue is looking at the situation from afar and seeing exactly what he can do with certain pieces that can not only put them in good position to win, but put them in good position to win a lot during the regular season. Because I feel like the last couple of seasons, the Clippers were more, they were more focused on the postseason rather than the regular season. Just kind of coast through the regular season, get through it, and be ready for the postseason. And that's good. That's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes, really building things up and prepping things in the regular season can really, prep you for the playoffs. So, and I know Kawhi Leonard is one of the players that he worries about the playoffs more than the regular season, and I definitely understand that. No riff about that because the guy is a all-time performer in the playoffs. So nothing nothing should be said on his behalf or in regards to that. Or on his side because of that, because it works out for him. He won 2 championships doing it, so it works for him, but I definitely think the Clippers this year will focus more of their sights on completing the regular season as high as they can in regards to rankings, seedings, and, completing the season as healthy as possible too, because right now, when you look at the Clippers, as I said before, this is really their last season to, make things work, I think, because I don't think some of these players or a lot of these players will be back here next season. I don't see that. And if they're not back there next season, you might have a somewhat of a different roster. It's possible you could have Kawhi and or PG, but you might have a different surrounding pieces around them. So there again, that means you'd have to build chemistry with those players because they're not, chemistry based with Kawhi and PG. And like I said, Ty Lue would still be there, of course. But at the same time, even with him being there, you still have to build chemistry with new players that come into the system and the structure. And as I said before, I think this is the last year that we'll see this team together the way they are. You might not see Reggie Jackson the year after. You might not see Marcus Morris. You might not see Nicholas Batum. You might not see one of the, Terrence Mann, maybe even Luke Kennard, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could be one of those situations. So to me, you know, I don't want to say dire need, but if I might say, maybe I should say it's a dire situation for the Clippers to, you know, win this championship this year, or bare minimum at least make it to a finals, because this team is too good. They got too many good pieces. They got one of the best players in the NBA, to me, the best player in the NBA, in Kawhi Leonard, when healthy. And they got the best coach in the NBA, to me, arguably, in Ty Lue. So when you put all that together with the two acquisitional pieces that they got in Robert Covington and Norman Powell, and now you add John Wall, they can get a 70% John Wall of what he was. They can win a championship. They can win a championship. And if Reggie Jackson, even if they don't get a 70% of John Wall, if they can get the Reggie Jackson they got about a year or so ago when they were in the playoffs and Kawhi got hurt, if they can get that Reggie Jackson the way he played in that playoffs, wow, they could win it. They can win it still, because Reggie has played point guard enough to where he understands how to be a point guard for the Clippers and for what they need, and he knows when it's his turn to score, and he knows when to, you know, kind of maybe take over a game a little bit, you know, about maybe somewhat of a quarter, about, you know, maybe, you know, a few minutes out of a quarter. He can kind of, you know, he knows when to kind of like take his shots, take over, and, you know, and he knows how to manage his shot selection. And I think that really helps with the Clippers' chemistry and everything like that, knowing that you have a third scorer that knows when it's time for him to, you know, step up and stuff like that. So I think that's big there. And, you know, with all that being said, they got all the pieces they need, to me. So, I mean, you got to go out there, you got to make it work, got to make it happen, and, you know, you got to find a way to win it. And that's pretty much where it is. Ty Lue is saying all the right things. You know, he said a few more things, you know, on Clutch Sports. You can read more into that if you want to. But the main point of emphasis is, you know, of course, he wants his team to win a championship. Of course, he sees his team winning a championship. And, you know, pending on health and everything like that, all the stuff that he talks about, all the things he's been talking about last season and, you know, the year before, or the last season at least, health is a big thing for them. You know, they got to stay healthy and they got to stay upright, and that's the best way they're going to build the chemistry and learn how to play with one another on a higher level so they can win a championship. Now, like I said, I think this team can do it. I think this is their year to make that run. And, you know, if they can get Kawhi back healthy, you know, me personally, I'm to the point where I hope Kawhi Leonard starts the beginning of the season. But if he doesn't, it doesn't really matter. If he starts game 15 or game 20 of the season, that's good enough, because that gives him enough time to get a rhythm where he can at least be, you know, the Kawhi, you know, we saw before he went out, you know. So if he can get a rhythm, you know, that's all Kawhi need. That's the only thing Kawhi need is a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Once he gets that, then, you know, it's all gas, no brakes. You see what I'm saying? Like, he could take off and go from there and be the Kawhi he was in the playoffs about a year ago before he went down to injury against Utah. So, I mean, that's what we all hope for. We hope PG stays healthy too. He's had an injury history as well. You know, you got to hope for everybody to stay healthy, because that's the only way it's really going to work. You know, everybody got to stay healthy, because if you're the Clippers, they've won a lot of games off of talent more so than chemistry. And see, when you win games off of talent more so than chemistry, a lot of times that can come back to hurt you when you play a team that's as good as you or maybe a little bit better than you are. So this is why I say the Clippers need to build that chemistry this year amongst each other and, you know, really, you know, put their best foot forward and try to go out there and win this thing. Because as I said before, this is their year to do it. Ty Lue's saying all the right things. Kawhi is being quiet as usual, working his ass off. So is the rest of the team, doing workouts on their own, trying to build as much as they can, because they know the window is starting to close for them rather than, you know, stay all the way open. So with that window waning, closing, you know, it's time for them to really, you know, make a stand and, you know, make a push, you know, for this championship, which I think they're totally 100% built for, and just like the rest of the world. So, all the talk aside, you know, let's see what happens and let's see how their season pans out. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section. Check out my other videos if you haven't. And hey, Khaliis out.